Test, test, test. All right, I'm playing around with the streaming again because I want to see how this microphone works. I know how my brain works, and I've been continuously lusting after these other pieces of equipment. It's a much better microphone. I don't know if it's actually much better. That's the thing, but like every podcast that's remotely professional has it, and it's not like it's $3,000. It's really not that crazy expensive. So my mind has been like, I'm just gonna buy that thing. And it's funny, I know the pattern. I'll keep looking at the stuff and then reading reviews and pricing it out and seeing if you can, or is there some kind of deal on eBay, and yada yada, and eventually I just click the thing and buy it. But I also simultaneously this week did you need a budget, and I got everything in and totally fixed up my finances. So it is interesting to have to budget out what you're going to spend money on before you spend it, which is sounds obvious, but not something that I've ever done in my life as an individual. Business is kind of different, but all right. So I'm just playing around today with this and also trying to get some other things integrated into the Joy-Con app from the Kotlin native stuff. And that is going to be today primarily coroutines, which is odd. I know that the coroutines design and implementation for native to do multi-threading is not complete. But I'm not sure how. I'm still pretty new to coroutines. I really started reading recently about it, and I was really underestimating what it was capable of, what it was, essentially, and was thinking about it like, oh, okay, it's async await. Yeah, I guess that's cool, but not really taking it very seriously. And then I really kind of got a much better understanding of what it's doing, and pretty interesting stuff, and really capable of doing a lot of stuff. So, damn. So, caused by... That's odd. So I'm trying to I know it's not supported yet, but I created a dispatcher with a worker that is invalid mutability exception. Why? What is it attempting to mutate? Or is it explicitly saying you can't? Well, it's trying to mutate something. And I'm pretty used to this stuff in the Kotlin native world, but I was hoping that, the strategy of just freeze everything would mean that it would work, but that doesn't appear to be the case. So we're passing in a block here. Then inside the worker, that block is run, but it should be frozen. And this is the frozen block, but obviously something in the coroutine gets changed, or what we're trying to do is trying to change its own state. So maybe it's just that simple. Yeah, okay. I guess what we're doing here is calling launch, and then there's this platform-specific application dispatcher, and on iOS, we're creating a dispatcher with a worker. The original example came from the common HTTP client that was using an NSQ to post it back to the main thread, even though it was in the main thread. So it was doing the networking in the main thread, which, I guess if that's how you want to roll, it's not a knock on them. I understand that this is not ready, so you can't really do this yet. But I wonder if, let's get rid of all this noise. Let's not do anything except print inside the background thread and see if it's something at a deeper level. One of the things that really is going to have to get better is the tooling. So, it's JetBrains, so we can expect that, but we're back to doing this, like printing statements. So, inside thread, inside, what do we call this? Coroutine, inside launch, I don't know, whatever. And then I'm also printing some thread info, which is essentially just going to say whether or not we're in the main thread. Adding the coroutines, this build now, even if I'm not streaming, takes like 5 minutes. And it really went from like 30 seconds to a solid 5 minutes, just out of the blue. Which sucks. Let's be honest. But again, it's new, so you really can't get crazy on it. If you made a library that, if you could I think if you could import it in a different way, it wouldn't take quite as long. I don't know. It takes a long time. So that's what we're doing. I have to get ready for a talk I'm giving on Thursday this coming week. I haven't started. Actually, this is kind of funny. Let me see exactly what I'm talking about, because I'm talking about different things at different conferences, and I kind of get them a little confused. Sorry, Android Summit folks. But it's all in my head, man. I'm ready. Speakers. Hey. There's me. Oh, it's about me, not about my talk. Will is listed here, but then he's not on the, whatchamacallit, he's not on the actual schedule. So I don't know, maybe he didn't confirm or they're not sure or whatever. But I was hoping to chat with him. We met several years back and discussed doing an app, and then that didn't happen. He was working at another company that the name escapes me now. But yeah, he's doing all the Flutter stuff. But he was also on a lot of the commits for the material iOS components. So, Kotlin multi-platform, blah, blah, blah. Quest for today, there's a lot more you can do, but sharing mobile architecture is still work in progress. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what Kotlin Native is, what libraries are available, how to get started. So the plan, I pitched to do talks essentially through the remainder of the year, and it's going to essentially be the same talk, just updated to what's currently available and just tracking the progress of what you can do now and what will probably be coming soon. I think a lot after DroidCon New York. I still don't know exactly. There's a talk about I/O with Kotlin multi-platform that's coming from some of our favorite community folks, and I don't really know even exactly what that's going to be about. Alex talking about SQLite. Pretty sure I know what that's going to go, how that's going to go. Yeah, so there's interesting stuff that's coming, and this is what I'm trying to use from JetBrains, the Ktor stuff. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. There's a multi-platform client, but it's using coroutines, but coroutines that are multi-threaded on native are not quite ready. And the Kotlin X coroutines now has a native thing, but it's also not quite ready for multiple threads, which, obviously is an impediment. See how long this is taking to build? 3 minutes. But my goal is to fully understand coroutines before it's ready, because once it's ready, a bunch of stuff is basically going to shift over into that, and that'll be pretty cool. I actually think originally I wrote this kind of throwaway threading stuff for live data. I wrote like a live data implementation just so I have something to use on the Joy-Con, but I think it's pretty minimal as far as the code maintenance level. I mean, there's not a lot there, but it's pretty useful. So I think publishing that isn't a horrible idea. I do expect that there are going to be some really interesting options coming out as soon as the rest of the stuff is sort of ready. But, RxJava existed for years, and then Google made live data, and some people seem to dig it. So personal preference it's an interesting thing. I really think whatever that was, the reagent. I'm not sick, but I got a cough. What's going on? Reagent, like this. I think this would be pretty cool, but this has to get a revisit. It's kind of been sitting there for a while. So, okay, that built. Let's see if we can run in the thread. It's very possible that the coroutines are doing something under the hood that is mutating its own state, in which case, like, we're probably going to be dead in the water. It would maybe be possible to code around it. I don't see, it's not worth, it's only so many days, you have in life, why try to like hack that when they're just going to make it work later anyway, right? It looked like I saw an exception pop up, which probably means there's something that we're not going to have control over. Okay, dispatch exception. Unexpected exception running that. Mutation attempt of frozen. Mutation attempt of frozen. What? It should probably be frozen object or something. You have to identify what is frozen. Grammatically speaking, whatever. Well, all right. What does it say? What does it actually say? Dispatch task run. Is it literally? Is it that? It looks like it. Okay. Dispatch task run. So there's probably something in there that says the task has been run, or it records the time, or something. It's probably not recording a time, but there's not a lot of time routines in your shared multi-platform. I mean, granted, they could add something. I got a lot of stuff open. Kotlin X, coroutines. Is it just one file? Damn it. All right. This is not the most interesting. Coroutine's latest. Yeah, that guy. So what is the class we're looking for? I should probably open this in IntelliJ so I can. Yeah. I'm just going to do that. My live streaming, I'm much better with the recorded, because now I would just pause it and get back to you. I mean, nobody's watching, so it's okay. I'm just testing the streaming here. But while we wait. Are we waiting? What's going on? Oh no, I've already had that open. So what is the error on dispatch task? Oh, well now, what do we got? What are our options here? Oh, that's a lot. Son of a bitch. So we don't know which type that is. That sucks. Maybe we can narrow this down. So how many runs? Oh, shit. Delegate. Unexpected. So we're throwing from this guy. Yeah. Anyway. We're just going to have to put that away for now. So that's not going to work. All right. We'll just forget about that. I'm going to yank all that stuff out. But, you know, gave it a try. So that means all these networking folks have to go. No. All right. Do. Yeah, again, you know, this probably, I mean, could I hack something together? Probably. Not going to do that. So, all right. But yeah, it sucks. I really don't want to do networking on iOS in the main thread. Even if it's just a sample, it just seems wrong. So let's get rid of this. It's pretty cool though. Whenever it's ready, it's going to be super, super awesome. Where did I put that dependency? Do I have a special dependency? I must. For this guy. I guess not. So, all right. Main app. Let's get rid of this. Yeah, we got to do this stuff. Get rid of the includes. Try to set up Sonar, or Facebook's new thing, and it was nightmare because it doesn't support Android X, and I was using Android X, so that didn't work. And then I tried to do iOS, and it didn't. It's like you can't use it in frameworks or some shit. So would love to try that out, but it doesn't work with this guy. All right. Cool story. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think getting rid of that should speed this build up considerably. Is anybody watching my stream? I don't think so. YouTube live dashboard. I guess there's a chat. I should probably be paying attention to that, yeah? 0 people watching. That's phenomenal. That's cool, though. would I share this out? Ah, I found it. All right. Okay, we'll see if we get anybody. Oh. Is that a person? I don't even know. I can't tell if it's me. And I guess there's a chat, but I don't know how to see the chat. New hold, potentially inappropriate, and I don't care. We'll have to be adults in the chat. Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, I try to use coroutines in Kotlin native multi-threaded coroutines, which is not supported yet, but I was hoping that using the Ktor client samples that use coroutines with native, they're using, I wanted to see first if they were doing multiple threads, and then I saw they were doing everything in the main thread, including networking, which is, not recommended. And then I wanted to see if we could just kind of freeze everything. The strategy for getting away with multi-threading right now for me and Kotlin native is just everything's frozen all the time, and then you don't have to worry about it so much. And then I was hoping that we could just freeze everything and create our own dispatcher with a worker. That didn't work. So that's where we're at. We're at the build, taking everything out. This build has started to take a lot longer, and I'm not sure why. But that's okay. It's just for the iOS side. If you build the Android side, it should be appropriately fast. So last week, or this past week, I converted the dependency mechanism for native. Up until now, it was the common platform stuff and the Android stuff all had what you would be accustomed to with Gradle dependencies. And the native situation was like wildly different. The way you configure your own project plus how you associate dependencies is wildly different. It tracked with what I would say would be a much fuller scope of configuration. There's stuff that I had to really kind of pull my hair out to figure out how to replicate with our libraries. But at the end of the day, it works. So that's this past week, because everything that's coming out of JetBrains going forward essentially is going to be using the newer style plugin. And if you're not using that, you're not using any of the new shit. And since I've sort of signed myself up to speak at a number of conferences throughout the rest of the year, and this is the only thing I'm really working on right now, should probably be able to try out the new shit as it comes out, right? So we've got currently SQLite, obviously, our database driver under the hood there. We've got the multi-platform thing going. I had to repackage that. And I originally had our threading stuff in one package, but because the live data, it's either Android or Android X, and then we had this, compatibility sort of nightmare. So I moved that, and now there's essentially two things for Threads. There's just Threads, which is pretty bare bones, and then there's the live data, which is also bare bones, but you don't need it in everything. And what the hell? This isn't like a real live stream, so I'll just go into the boring stuff. There's Threads, common, and that's got a lot of packages. It's Atomic Ref, which is essentially allowing you to use Kotlin Native's Atomic Ref in a common platform way, and it's extremely useful for certain things. And then there's Thread Local, which is also very useful in Kotlin Native because you don't need to freeze it if it's local to a specific thread. I won't say that my implementation of Thread Local is stellar, but it's good enough for now. I really am not trying to put too much effort into that stuff because I know that JetBrains is seriously focused on the multi-threading aspect and how to make these libraries work together. So threading stuff definitely feels like an area where whatever you build is going to get stepped all over in the next month or two. So I'm not really trying too hard. However, the live data, again, it's not really super functional. Like there's not a ton of stuff in live data as a library as compared with, say obviously RX or whatever. So I think when it came out, everyone was kind of like, no one's going to use that. And then there's an ongoing debate. I mean, it's super simple and purpose-built for Android, so it's very straightforward to use. RX is one of those things that I initially avoided. Not so much me, but our team using it, because it was like, hey, go learn RX, and then, okay, see you in a few months. I mean, it's like not straightforward for anybody who's not really, really clear on how, threading works and that kind of stuff. And the use cases that you would need a lot of the things in RX to me seemed a lot of them seemed like they would be edge cases. And then, of course, I got to use it, and it was like, okay, I get it. I get what you're going for here. Still, like the vast majority of RX I've never even seen myself. But anyway, point being that live data has certainly generated a following. So I think when coroutines are ready, this is going to be a pretty easy, proper implementation to build. And I think that there will be actually some demand for this because people sort of dig it. I got to figure out the iOS side. Like, there is kind of a lifecycle in iOS, but there isn't really that lifecycle listening capability as far as I know. So you would need to explicitly tell the live data to kind of, take a breath. I'll be back. Okay, we're back. That kind of stuff. That's all happening under the hood now on Android. What was I doing? It was still building. That shit takes a long time. All right. Troycon, Kotlin. Yeah, so what's the mic I want to get? Yeah, the Shure SM7B. It's so sweet. It would not make any difference as far as what you would hear, I'm sure. Pun not intended or whatever. And you can't just get the mic. You got to get the USB interface, and then you got to get the mic activator to bring up the gain levels and the mic. And you have the boom, but I got the good boom. I just decided I'm not going to go cheap on the boom because that's like the worst. If you got this like hardware stuff that doesn't, that's all crappy and falls apart, gets bent, that's garbage. So you can't go cheap on that. All right, let's see. Did it run? Yes, we're back. whatever. I did the sponsors view in Android. I didn't do sponsors view in iOS. iOS is not, it's kind of it's more of a demonstration than we're really going to be doing tons of deployments. So I got to see if we want to put the effort into this. I don't know. I tried to engage with outside developers, and we got some help to commit to the app, but it was really hard because I'm just, I'm trying to whip this thing together so fast that, having tasks and getting people to do them and working together is tricky. Or maybe I'm just a bad open source manager. That's entirely possible. Anyway, I might see if I can get someone to construct that, but we'll see. I just don't really feel like doing it. And I'm not really an iOS UI expert. I wouldn't call myself an Android UI expert by any stretch. But iOS, I had to learn a ton of stuff just to get this thing to work. Because before this, I was basically fixed with, and everything had to be vertical, or there was no way I was going to build it. But then, kind of learned the storyboard. It's pretty straightforward. I kind of feel like I should be doing this in code, but whatever. The material components are, a lot of the samples are in code, so figure out how to make them work in the storyboard is not, I didn't find that to be super straightforward. You kind of get there eventually, but it was unpleasant. And now, there's something really weird with the storyboard. I don't think it's related to material components, but when you open it, you can't even see the preview of the main screen. There's something that's just rendering. It's just borked. So, see that red thing? Unhappy. Probably shouldn't chew gum on a microphone. Yeah. Oh, it came back. This thing was not rendering. That's weird. Interesting. I guess it's just mad about this. All right. Super excited. So what was I doing? Tried to do coroutines, multi-threaded in Kotlin native, even though I was aware that that's not ready. Tried to sort of fake it, and it didn't work out. So, shame on me, or whatever. It should be really exciting when that's ready, and we'll see how that goes. So I updated the versions. I have to publish the threading versions, and I have to publish the database versions and SQLite because they were all using threading, and then just republish this app, and we should be good. I don't think I really did I didn't do good versioning discipline. I think I might have a couple of things. No, okay. I thought I had sponsors and these other changes mixed in there, but I didn't. I don't know. I see there's 2 people. I don't know who's out there. So, I'm just testing out the equipment mostly, and I'm kind of doing some code. But, and I was discussing before, this is the mic I want. I went cheap and got that mic. I really don't need that mic until I start doing something meaningful. That's crazy. But all the podcasts you ever see essentially use that mic. And it's weird. I had no idea about mics, and now that I'm aware of that mic, I see it on everything. Every podcast, I was just watching what was it? The Breakfast Show? Breakfast Club. Yeah. And they had what was it? It was the clip. I won't even get into it, but they had a whole table full of them, and Joe Rogan's show, and the what do you call it? Tom Segura's show, and all those. They all kind of have the same thing. It's it's cool, but it's $700 because you got to buy the mic, and then you got to buy a whole bunch of stuff other than the mic. Anyway, so that's the sponsors page. And I guess we'll commit that. This is going to get really boring. I find Gradle and dependencies to essentially be the paperwork of this. And if there's anything I get stuck, hours and hours when something is minor doesn't work. It's always something to do with Gradle and dependencies and like this bin tray upload thing. For some reason, the way that the native stuff works and the other stuff was working, you couldn't like upload all of the things at once. So I had to upload them one at a time by passing an argument into the thing, and then in here it says, hey, if you have that property, so then it'll upload this one thing. I mean, it works. Am I losing sleep over it? Absolutely not. But it's just little stuff like that. Like that took like a day to sort out. And it's just like losing a day is infuriating. All right, we're at version 3. What do we got? Bin tray. What am I looking at here? I'm just trying to see if I've already deployed this. I don't remember. But I have something that checks to see if it already exists. And if it does, it won't deploy it, which is kind of cool. I don't think I did. All right, so we're going to deploy this. Let's do a check-in first. I don't really have a good process for this. I should probably have something that creates a release, yada yada. Status. For some reason, when we use this new Kotlin native Gradle setup, it creates these source jars, but it doesn't put them in a place that makes sense. And I don't know if that's some kind of bug or if I just copy pasted some config. Again, not top of my concerns today. All right, so my Wi-Fi at home is dramatically better than the Wi-Fi in the office. We just moved to a new office, and the Wi-Fi will work for like 5 minutes, and then I'll lose like 30 seconds, and then it'll come back. And if you watch the other live feed, it was like that. It was like all of a sudden it would just cut out. And I thought it was like maybe doing a live stream and doing compiles and other stuff was killing the computer, but it's not. All right, so we're gonna do this. This is gonna bin tray this stuff. I think I'm gonna stop streaming. I think that's enough for a test. Yeah. All right. It's almost 40 minutes. If there is actually somebody watching, sorry. See you later.